Hello and welcome to How to Love Successfully. This is a podcast for female leaders who are looking for that loving connection and making their love life as much of a success as their careers have been. Here we talk about dating successfully and creating a loving relationship. I am your host, Dr. Kovanen. I'm a registered psychologist and a conscious dating coach. For the past 15 years, I have been working with individuals and couples and help them with their relationships. I share from my personal experiences of dating. I share my observations from working with clients about what makes relationships successful and how to find the right person for you. I would love you to follow this podcast to get notified of the new episodes and join my email list. You will find the link in the show notes to get dating tips and notifications of any new materials. But now let's go into this. Hello and welcome to this episode of How to Love Successfully. Are you experiencing dating anxiety? Do you notice that perhaps you're not experiencing anxiety in other areas of your life? You feel confident at work, at least most of the time. You feel fairly secure and settled in your other relationships with your friendships and so on. But when it comes to dating, even any sign of dating will bring up this anxiety within you. It feels really uncomfortable. You perhaps start to become quite preoccupied with whether it's checking the dating apps. You start to become quite preoccupied with thinking about what that other person's motives are, or whether they're really interested or not, or what are they doing, trying to analyze their behavior. And it's very difficult for you to make sense of what's pro-relationship type of behavior and what's not. And today I wanted to address this dating anxiety because this is very common amongst the women I work with. And it is very uncomfortable. And as much as you want to feel really secure within yourself, but dating, unfortunately, it really brings up all of those insecurities within you. And unfortunately, of course, the dating process is part of the process of finding love. And often also what happens is that if you're having anxiety already in the dating process, that yes, it could improve if you find the right person, but it really confuses you. It makes your dating experience very uncomfortable and it's really difficult to know or to trust and all of that kind of stuff. So I wanted to spend some time over this and the next episode talking about dating anxiety. And in this episode to talk about what it is and what are the potential causes of it so that you get to understand and make sense for yourself what's causing it. And then in the next episode, we will talk about what can you do about it. I wanted to split it over 2 episodes because there is so much to be said about dating anxiety. And dating anxiety is a form of course, relationship anxiety. You may have experienced relationship anxiety in your previous relationships. It is when your attachment system gets activated. So we are all biologically programmed to attach. And for you, what happens is that any time you are in some form of romantic relationship or even contemplating a romantic relationship, or you are interested in someone, this brings a really uncomfortable feeling. This is a feeling in your body. This is perhaps butterflies in your tummy. It can be tightness in the chest. You can become quite preoccupied with thinking about that person and their actions and so on. And this may really take over your life in many ways. That it's difficult to focus on other things. This is really uncomfortable. So I really want to help you with this. If you've experienced relationship anxiety in your previous relationships, this could be due to the fact that the type of partner that you have been in a relationship with, perhaps that person was not demonstrating pro-relationship type of behavior. And what do I mean by it? I mean that these pro-relationship type of behaviors are when we are talking about attachment styles. In the previous episodes, we talked about attachment styles, and I can link another episode where I talk about the different attachment adaptations. So attachment, of course, refers to the early relationships that you have had with your caregivers. And so we all have this attachment system. And this attachment system, the kind of purpose of it originally was to ensure that an infant, a baby, would attach to their caregiver because a baby's survival was dependent on those caregivers. And then, of course, in adulthood, we form relationships again, and we have the same attachment system. We are designed to form bonds with other people. So why is that? Why does your attachment system get activated? And why do you experience this attachment anxiety? It could well be that this is linking to your early years and the relationships that you've had with your caregivers, with your parents. And often this anxiety in relationships is linking back to perhaps your parents not being able to be consistently attentive to your needs. So perhaps you've had to become quite preoccupied with observing them and knowing when are they around, when are they supporting you, and all of that kind of stuff. So often there is that there's lack of either consistency, or it could be that your parent or parents have been quite anxious themselves, and you've grown up in this environment where there's a lot of anxiety about relationships. Perhaps your mum was overly worried about you all the time, and maybe she was checking on you all the time. Or maybe she was quite a strong character and she wanted you to live in a certain way, and there was not much room for you to be the person you wanted to be or who you are really. So perhaps there were some limitations in that way. So there was some sort of anxiety there all the time. Or then it could, of course, be that perhaps you've developed this relationship anxiety, which has now also then turned into dating anxiety, as a result of your previous relationships, your adult relationships. So perhaps you've been in relationships with people who themselves are quite anxious, and this may show up in their behavior as in finding it really difficult to tolerate closeness. So if they have more of an anxious adaptation, these are people who need a lot of space. They may like the idea of being in a relationship, but when it really comes down to it, they find it really difficult. And so this may be that it's then this sort of hot and cold type of behavior that has left you feeling really anxious because you don't know exactly where the other person is coming from. And perhaps you've developed feelings towards this person and you start to build a relationship, but perhaps you were constantly having to second guess the other person's feelings, and you can really quite settle and relax in that relationship. So this may have left you feeling quite anxious then. And then, so now when you are dating and there's any sign of either forming a relationship or even just having conversations with people, and when there is lack of clarity, then it's difficult for you to know what the other person's intentions are. And this brings up this dating anxiety. Dating anxiety can, of course, hinder your then ability to make good dating decisions. So next time we'll talk about what you can do to help yourself But just for now, let's think about, first of all, what you need to understand about dating situations if you are experiencing dating anxiety. So first of all, you need to be aware whether this anxiety is there because there's something about this person's behavior that is making you feeling uncomfortable. So are they being perhaps, again, blowing hot and cold, so you don't quite know? Or are they perhaps being intrusive in some way and stepping over your boundaries? Or is it because there's something else about their behavior that's making you feel uncomfortable? Have you got a dating dilemma? Are you wondering what is stopping you from finding love? If you haven't heard yet, I have free 30-minute dating clinic consultations available every month. And during these meetings, I will ask you specific questions to help you to figure out what is stopping you from finding love. You will leave with clarity and a plan how to move forward in finding love for you. You can find the details in the show notes, and I would love to see you there. Let's go now back to the episode. What's really important is you need to be asking these 3 questions. So you need to ask yourself, okay, are they showing up? Is the person making effort? Are they being consistent with what they are doing? Thirdly, then, are their actions and words aligned? And over time, someone may pretend for a short while, but over time, do the person's actions and words align? And if you can say yes to all of those, person is showing up, they're showing clear interest, they are saying that they want to take you out, they want to see you, they are not playing any games, they are being really consistent with it, everything's clockwork, you start to build a little bit of trust, what they'd say, and those are aligned. So if you're still feeling the anxiety there, it's perhaps linked to your own previous experiences. And of course, there's always a little bit of nervousness about new relationships, this kind of nervous anxiety. And what you need to remember is that there's a level to it, that is a little bit, it's fine, but when it becomes really uncomfortable and you notice that it starts to hinder your ability to make good dating decisions, that's when we need to address it. So next time we will talk about how to address this dating anxiety. One thing I want you to take away today is to start noticing that if you are meeting people, that start asking those 3 questions. Are they showing up? Are they being consistent? And are their words and actions aligning or not? And that will also give you a really good sense of what's going on there. We release episodes every Friday, and come back next week and we will talk about what you can do to help yourself with this dating anxiety. I hope you have a good day and see you soon. If you learned something new, please leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. That way other women like you can hear about this and learn and also build a beautiful relationship with you. And please remember, give yourself the love you want first, and then you will attract the right person and the right relationship.